what we do get, and in this case, it'll be a man that comes in from the outside with, and I repeat the point, I don't know what he stands for. He will have no mandate. We need an election.
It's interesting what you said already. You've spoken this morning about a mandate, whether or not Andy Burnham would have a mandate. Do you have a mandate? Do your MPs who defected from the Tories have a mandate when there wasn't a by-election?
Well, they would argue, you know, people like Suella Braverman would argue that the reason they left the last Conservative government was on the same policies they contested the general election on. Therefore, they may have changed parties, but they haven't changed policies. So
that's their argument, though, but the voters haven't been given the chance to make a choice.
Well, do you know what? If you go through history, you know, hardly anybody ever holds a by-election when they change sides. We might want to change the rules on that, but they are as they are. Does Suella Braverman, does Robert Jenrick, do they have a mandate because they were elected on very clear policies? I would argue strongly they do.
But that is hypocrisy. You're saying it's one rule for you and another rule for them.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is they were elected in 2024 with their own election addresses, their own promises, their own records in government. That is very different.
It's completely different. They were elected for a different party.
To becoming Prime Minister. That is it's a different magnitude entirely.
They are MPs representing the people that have voted for them. That has a hugely responsible and important job. You're saying it's less significant?
Being a Member of Parliament is way, way less significant than being Prime Minister. Absolutely.
But what about those people who voted and then those MPs that defected changed sides? What about, where is their choice in all of this?
No, look, you can argue that with every defection that takes place, and we get a lot of defections in every single Parliament. I understand the big, broad debate you're trying to have. I understand it, but that is very, very different to a country changing a Prime Minister, somebody who can make massive decisions on behalf of all of us and on behalf of our country's standing in the world. That there is a completely different magnitude here.
Why do you think Andy Burnham beat you so comprehensively in Makerfield?
Well, we campaigned in the run-up to May the 7th on vote reform, get Starmer out. We swept the board in the North West, the North East, Yorkshire,
I'm talking
West
about
Midlands.
Makerfield.
Well, why did Makerfield happen? Makerfield happened because reform wiped out the Labour Party in the north of England on a get Starmer out message.
I'm asking why were you beaten, not why did it happen?
Vote Burnham, get Starmer out. He literally took our slogan. His campaigners took our slogan.
And beat you?
Yes, comprehensively, because they want to get rid of Keir Starmer. They've had enough of Keir Starmer. He's the most unpopular Prime Minister of modern times. So you could argue we will hoist with our own petard, but that's what happened, and it was a landslide victory. Full credit to him for that. That's fine. But if he wants to be Prime Minister, the country must know what are his policies, what are his ideas, what does he actually stand for?
Do you think that the defeat in Makerfield was anything to do with your admission that you were given £5 million by a crypto billionaire? Sorry?
No one cares. Apart from the media, no one cares. No one cares at all.
The Parliamentary Standards Watchdog care, because they are investigating it.
They are, you're right. There's been a complaint received, complaint from the Conservative Party chairman. They're investigating it. We'll see what they say. I'm absolutely convinced I've done nothing wrong in any way at all. I also know that since I was elected as an MP, I've taken zero in personal expenses. I'm very careful and very cautious about these things. I believe it to be a wholly private matter. The Standards Commissioner may take a different view.
You had already given an interview about the possibility of becoming an MP, and then you accepted the gift. Is that right? Yeah.
And after that, I said I will not stand in this election. And I was pretty clear when a snap election was called that I wasn't going to do it. I did change my mind subsequently.
You've said that £5 million was for lifelong security for you. You've also said it was a gift. Can you just clarify?
No. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. It's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on cars if I want to. It's entirely up to me, right? But there is a specific reason for this. I have been physically the most attacked and endangered politician in Britain for now well over a decade. At every stage during that time, when I've asked the state to help and support, most times they point blank refused. I know because of the division in politics, that I will need protection until the day that I die. And that is my intention. That is what it's for. And it means, frankly, I can get on with my job and not worry about the long term.
So, Mr. Farage, how much of that money have you spent?
Look, it's literally none of your business. If I've given it to charity, but the truth is, I haven't. I know what it's there
You haven't
for.
spent any of it?
It's none of your business. It's literally none of your... How much of your salary do you spend on beer, on petrol? It's none of your business.
I think it is the public's business to know.
No, it's not the public's business.
Well, it's being investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Committee, so it's
well,
somebody's
let
business.
them
You're saying you need
investigate it.
security, a legitimate point. How much of that money have you spent on security so far?
I'm sorry. Well, I know I'm not going to answer that deliberately, willfully.
Do you wish that you had declared this money at the time?
It is not your business at the BBC to put me in danger, therefore I will not answer that.
I would just like to clarify, do not make any mistake, we are not putting you in any danger at all.
If I answer that question you asked, so I won't.
So, but you have already said that you haven't spent it.
Fine. Leave it at that then.
Do you wish you declared it at the time?
No.
You know this is going to keep coming up again and again and again.
Well, that's it. And look, you can obsess about it, all right? That's fine. I spent, goodness knows, scores of hours in Makerfield, out talking to people, out knocking on doors, meeting people of all political opinions, and only one person raised it with me. So, you know, if you want to go on about it for the next 3 years, you go on about it. That's fine. I'm going to get on with my job.
I just wonder, you know, the people that you're talking to this morning, our viewers, the man and woman in the pub tonight watching England play football, I just wonder what they would think about someone who has got £5 million sitting in a bank account and how they can relate to that.
I wonder how they'd relate to your salary, many of them in the pub
My
tonight.
salary is on the public record.
Many of them watching this programme right now.
And how do you feel maybe about facing Andy Burnham and dealing with Andy Burnham as Prime Minister?
Well, look, it'll be a bigger challenge than Keir Starmer. Of that, there's absolutely no doubt. You know, he was a great asset to reform, and it was why, you know, in the Brexit voting north, we did so well on May the 7th. You know, landslide we had against the Labour Party right across the Midlands and the north. Burnham, I think, will be more astute in terms of his arguments. But I repeat the main point: I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to put up taxes? You know, what's he going to do? And that's why I think there has to be a public debate, and the best format for that would be a general election and a choice. And if people like what Andy Burnham stands for, he'd win the general election, fair and square.
Nigel Farage, thank you.